Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else, don't make me turn this website around.
Mark, here in Texas. Welcome to the Hang Up. How can I help?
Hello. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing all right. How's your day going?
Oh, it's not too bad. I'm sure you've read it. I have had an experience with a newly built church.
Okay. You're a building inspector, a city inspector, town inspector, something?
Yeah, I'm a city inspector, and basically the thing that I want to talk about is the pressure that they put on you. And I don't even know, I assume that they did it on purpose, but so when the job began, they were not playing by the rules, and they didn't put up their erosion control, and they were moving a lot of dirt around, and I shut them down. And the guy that was in charge of the job was the preacher or pastor, I don't know what he's called, but he was like, "This is going to save the church like $60,000. And I was like, "I don't care." Like, you're breaking the rules, man. Like, I don't let this happen for private companies. And I don't know. It's just, he was trying to, evoke something that I just didn't fall for it. And I feel like this is probably happening more places than where I'm at. So I don't know. I just think that.
I'm a little confused. So did this feel like somebody was trying to bribe you, pressure you to approve something that shouldn't have been approved? I missed part of this somewhere.
Yeah, no, he wasn't trying to bribe me necessarily, but he was definitely trying to push me to allow him to do something that I wouldn't allow others to do.
Oh, do we really have to be up to code? I mean, this is, if we try to get up to code, this is going to cost the church another $60,000, and we can't really afford that because we're just a tiny little church here trying to, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And to me, I'm like, well, to me, I thought it was like fake money. It's real money, but I'm like, it's not a real thing to me.
Yeah, well, do you know what happened after that? I mean, you evidently stuck to your guns, and now they're going to have to be up to code.
Yeah. Well, he eventually, but I'm sorry, this is probably boring and nobody wants to hear about it, but in the end, at the very end, they did not get a water meter, and they were stealing water. And that put me in a weird spot because my boss is actually an attendee of that church. I'm like, they're stealing water. And it was just weird. And I'm like, here's a church stealing water. Like, I don't know. And he never, I don't know. It was weird.
It's a difficult situation for you, both because I can imagine, your boss being an attendee or congregant of the church, and you're just trying to do your job. And you can't give the responses that I would give. Like if it weren't my job and somebody just called in and I was like, hey, maybe you should pray that God will get you the water you need instead of stealing it, that type of thing. That's where I would go. And I know you can't do that. I just thought it was weird.
Was stealing water. He knows the rules. He should have.
I would imagine I'd imagine there's quite a bit of that. We talk about, and this is one of those things where it kind of gets back to what we were talking about a little earlier. If you're going to open a public business and follow those rules, similarly, if you're going to build a building, it doesn't matter if you're a church or a social club or a strip club. Your church, your building still needs to be up to code. That's this is one of the I think even, well, all right, maybe I won't speak for the batshit crazy libertarians, but the regular libertarians are at least in favor of some regulations so that somebody doesn't construct a church and then in the middle of Sunday service, it collapses and kills everybody in there. I mean, there are reasons why we need regulations. There are reasons why we need people like you inspecting things and making sure things are okay. And it doesn't surprise me that there are people trying to get around it because, and it doesn't surprise me that it's a church. I would imagine there's people all over the place trying to get around whatever regulation they can all the time.
Oh yeah. And that's very true. It happens all the time. And to me, a person that claims to be a preacher, a man of God, I don't know, that to me, like, wouldn't you want to follow the rules? Like, that should be very instinctive to someone like that, you know? And yet he was trying to fight it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I suspect I could predict what's going on in his head, which is not, it's more of the most important thing in his mind is that this community, this congregation, oh, I'm so sorry. I have like weird hiccupy indigestion thing. That this community, this congregation gets the building that they need so they can do God's work. And it'll all work out in the long run, and God wouldn't let anything bad happen. And it's not like they're actually stealing water. And maybe, you know, somewhere down the road, this could be remedied once they build up their church. All these rationalizations go in their head because they have a duty to the church and not to the rest of society. As a matter of fact, when you have a religion that views the entirety of this life as if it's dirty rags, as if it's a place to wipe your feet before you go on to the real world, it diminishes everything about this life. And so while nobody's going to say, yes, we're Christians and we're going to violate the law all the time when it benefits us, nobody's ever going to say that. There's going to be the rationalizations of, we've got to do the Lord's work, and if we fudge this a little bit, God will make sure it works out.
Yeah, that makes sense, but it doesn't at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Mark, and you know, I appreciate it, and you know, good luck when you deal with this stuff again. And if you run across any other things like that, you might want to call in sometime when one of the many constitutional lawyers are in here, because it could be that there's something that can be done. But it may also be the case that what we just need are people like you that are like, you know, hey, you don't have to be an asshole ever. You can just be like, look, it's not me. These are the regulations. I really don't care where you get your water from and how many people you baptize, but I'm here to do this job, and you guys have got to abide by this. Even your boss should understand that.
Oh, absolutely. He's been very supportive, and thank you so much. There's another church popping up here soon. I've seen a sign for it, and I'm not really looking forward to it, but it's probably going to be similar.
Yeah. Well, if something interesting happens, by all means, call in, let me know. Otherwise, I mean, I appreciate the story. And if for no other reason, then it's good to have a reminder that this sort of stuff's going on, because I don't think it's going to come as a surprise to anybody. And this doesn't just apply to churches. That there's a little bit of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'll rub your back if you rub mine stuff going on all over the place, sometimes for churches, sometimes perhaps for secular organizations, or, you know, hey, we want this gazebo up in the town hall, and it needs to be done before the 4th of July celebration. You know, come on, can't you cut us a little bit of slack here that we didn't use, you know, 2x6s instead of, or whatever. But.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. You want to hang up on me, Mark? Everybody does.
I would love for you to hang up on me.
Are you sure? I did. I was hoping to catch him like in the middle of saying, yeah. But.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.